so I can see you. Okay, we're on. I just don't know where. It set it up in the corner, and it made the most sense in terms of space utilization, but like the sight lines are not as good. We're about to do things to the set here. We're going to add some flexibility, but I yet don't know exactly how it's going to work out.
I don't know if I had an epiphany. But you know, there's like certain jokes that are forever a thing. Like, I'm trying to think of one. Like chicken before the egg, or is a hot dog a sandwich?
It's a hot dog, yeah.
Right.
Hot dog is a roll, just so everybody knows.
I don't know. That one hurt my head a little bit. What if I throw salami? Sometimes they do subs like that though, like open toppy.
Oh yeah.
Then what's that?
It's an open face sandwich.
Okay, not open face, but you know what I mean. Like you take like say you take like a French roll instead of a bun, but you kind of yeet it through the top like that and build a sandwich vertically. Have you seen that? It's a roll then?
It's a roll, yeah.
All right, that's fair. A dressed roll, a well-dressed roll?
Yeah, a roll is where the bread's still connected.
Oh, okay. That's fair. I don't care that much.
From that perspective, a taco should be a roll.
Yeah, that's the other conversation, right? And then what the hell is a burrito?
A burrito is something I think Americans invented.
Is cereal soup is another one. You never heard that?
I've not heard that one.
So this is where my epiphany comes to.
Okay.
A couple of them I'm like, whatever,
I'm
right?
dying to hear where this is going.
I don't really like hot dogs, so I don't care, right? Like that conversation's out.
I love hot dogs.
I'll at a game, I'll definitely throw a glizzy down the throat. But besides that fact, I don't,
Yeah. Check out the Topic Thunder episode, How Many Glizzies?
Can you fit?
Yeah.
Yeah, so all that's whatever. And then the other big one is milk before the cereal or cereal before the milk.
Oh, it's cereal before the milk.
So here, Jim, I was on the same page for 33 years. And I was like, there's no possible way someone honestly goes milk first.
Right.
But there is an instance when we must go milk first, and I came into that instance. So I've always gone cereal first. You're an absolute psychopath if you do otherwise. And I saw no real utility. Like there's logic to some of them.
Yeah.
There's some logic, I guess, to the hot dog now that you described what a roll is. There's some logic there.
Yeah.
Not that it matters either way.
No.
This one, there is some application that matters. Two instances. One, I've been using these Fairlife shakes as my milk for my cereal to get some more protein in. And if you guys, we're not sponsored, even though we should be. These Fairlife shakes, what makes them different to me at least is how thin they are.
Uh-huh.
Real shakes or ready-made shakes normally are thick as hell. So I'm not putting that in my cereal. It's just going to make it gross, right?
Yeah, that'll be...
These ones are very milky. Like the texture is insane. And so I was like, oh, easy go. The other instance here is when you're in the last bit of your milk.
Uh-huh. So you don't know how much
I don't want dry cereal
to pour. Yeah, okay.
I don't want dry cereal. So, and the other issue I had was this dishwasher day, so shit's cleaning, and I only had a giant fucking bowl.
Uh-huh.
But I'm tracking my food, so I'm not going to fill the bowl to if I go cereal first on a big bowl, it's over. I'm putting the whole box in there. There's no stop.
Well, yeah, because the suggested serving size for cereal is one box.
Especially when you have a salad bowl that you're having dessert cereal with. And, there's no turn-off button until the brim's full. And then that's why it does make sense to go milk second is because I like to just see the milk just slowly creeping through and then you stop.
The top parts start to float. That's your...
But I'm out of fucking milk.
Yeah.
I only got a salad bowl. So I went milk first. And then I did the opposite and poured cereal until I barely lost sight. Like Simba or falling off the fucking... What's his name? Not Simba. But Mufasa's fucking falling off the cliff behind me as my milk. And then it was perfect. It really was perfect.
I could see that. I would never do it.
It was a no-brainer before.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I was like you. I was like, who would ever put milk first?
Right.
Who would ever? But I was in a conundrum last night, and I made it happen. And I'm proud of myself, really. Which leads us to the big topic in my brain, actually. This is a stretch, but it's there. So we're talking about what everyone's fucking talking about, so we're not going to go over it, right? The Oscars, we all get it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to me. There's two big topics I want to talk about within it, and I think you have one or two that are different. But the one to me, which is interesting, sociology-wise, is how many people are split they really did do like a Team Will, Team Chris thing, right? Like who's in the right, or yeah, you should stand up for your chick, or like no, you should use your words, right? It's at least from 100% anecdotal visual evidence of social media, it seems 50-50-ish.
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe a cereal and milk situation. And so what I tried to wrap my head around...
Would you slap somebody over the cereal and milk situation?
So that's what it comes down to, though, really. Like, joking aside, is like, one, what people may tweet is not how they would act in a situation, for sure, right?
Because everyone is full of shit unless they're in the situation.
Or the opposite, though. Someone would be like, I would definitely use my words, and that person's a rager, and they're definitely punching someone out, right? Like, it goes both ways.
Right.
But what I really do try to, as I've grown... I'd like to think of maturity. I really do try to set myself inside someone's shoes in any instance. And some people truly think you can be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And there's many of you out there
who are pieces of shit.
Not listening to this podcast, but probably people listening to this podcast, people you know.
Yeah.
But that their intentions truly are good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously this instance is fun because they're celebrities. And it's fun because, like, I'm sure Chris's face hurts a little bit, but no one really got, you know what I mean? Like, we're not talking life or death. We're not talking, the repercussions aren't that crazy. It was an open hand slap.
Right.
You know. The other big topic, so that's to me is like, does...
My favorite joke around that, when he looked in the mirror afterwards, he had...
Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
I saw. I don't know who first said it, but I do think the homie Tim Delgado. I saw him tweet it right the fuck away. And he's known for like puns and things, so I'd like to throw him credit. I don't know if it's true or not. So that's one topic to me is like what you like want to rah behind because one's your favorite actor.
Yeah,
probably isn't how you would act.
Yeah,
and then how you would act maybe not be tied into your morals.
Right.
And it seems, obviously, based on Smith's apologies and stuff, he doesn't believe how he acted fits with his morals, or maybe he's playing the political game. Maybe he's going off and saying whatever. The other big topic to me that we'll whittle down to, which I think does have relevance to us in some instances, is the classification of, like, morals. And I gave Jim this example yesterday, and we got caught up. I got caught up texting the roomies, the boys, Kyle and Dan, when this happened. And I was like, it's crazy, right? Like, Will Smith is really an artist, if you had to throw him in a category. One of the most famous of all time, sure. But he's an artist, right? And because he has this public audience and he's a public figure, most people hold him to a different standard than, and I don't want to insult anybody out there, but any job, right? Maybe even a teacher, a lawyer, a craftsman, a plumber, a gym owner. For sure, a gym owner. I'm in the shit category if you throw me in that one, right? Yeah. Like gym owners. And so Dan, you guys may know him as Fat Dan or Stormcloud. He runs a security company, and he does a bunch of residential stuff. He does some, high-end car places. He has a variety of portfolios underneath him that he, or his resume that he secures. But he also does bars and clubs, a variety of those too, like some really nice ones and some whatever ones.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I see people get punched and slapped every weekend. I was like, oh, yeah, that's weird, right? No one's judging them by being a piece of shit.
Oh, I do.
Or, okay, sure.
I totally do.
Yeah, I mean, when you bring up...
But most of them are impaired.
So alcohol plays a role for sure. But and you're only judging them, I feel like, if I bring it up. Like, hey, Jim, do you think this dude at the bar is stupid for punching someone? And you'd be like, yeah.
Yes.
But, like, in the grand scheme, you're not wasting a thought.
Oh, no, I'm not thinking about it because I just assume it's happening.
Maybe. I don't know why I don't think about it, but I also think that if you put those two people next to each other, one is more assumed, and one's like, we assume Will Smith wouldn't do that. Yeah. And that's where the classification comes.
I see what you're saying. So we're disappointed in Will Smith for doing this.
Because of your job, because of your status, maybe because of your money, people throw a different sense of responsibility, maturity, and morals on you.
Yeah.
And being a public figure as like an Instagram or something, and I've said this for a long time, and that's where I get torn in this, is where I think if you have a public presence, or you do have a responsibility to try to lead by example.
Oh, I think that's absolutely true, yeah.
But is that right? Because at the end of the day, we are all human.
So you're saying the question is whether or not in the court of public opinion, Will Smith should be punished for acting out the way that he did.
or more so just why are different classifications by money, status, audience held to a different standard? Because no one bats an eye when the gym bro, the dude who sells supplements, is at the bar on the weekend and gives someone a backhand.
No one bats an eye, but they could still end up in a lot more trouble from a legal perspective.
I'm not talking legal. I'm talking moral. I'm talking sociology. Because, I think the legal all comes down to, and I'm not a lawyer, but I think the legal all just comes down to who presses charges. If Chris Rock wanted to say, fuck Will Smith, they could probably push something.
I saw a fair amount on that question. It's like, well, why do they need someone to press charges?
I think that's
it's
just how it
not
goes.
like we all didn't see it happen. You know?
I think that's how it goes with all law in America, or majority of law.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really what it comes down to. Is you have to have people who are willing to testify that they felt as though they were wrong.
Yeah, I think you come at me with a hatchet.
Yeah,
in front of a cop, and if I say no, this is cool, I think it's cool.
Yeah,
until you kill me.
Yeah,
and then I don't have a word to speak.
Yeah, although I think that in a situation like that where it was like, potential,
active.
Potentially intimate, not that's the word I'm looking for. Immediate.
Yeah, maybe.
Death scenario that they're going to stop it,
but they would act based on belief or whatever their little rules say.
There are better ways for me to do this, but I'm going to try. This goes back to your original comment about. Here, hopefully this is.
We're trying to get audio in here.
Oh, it's not. Jesus Christ. It's always something.
Because there's no other kind of guy.
Okay.
No guy out there is going, listen, I'm an extremely violent dude, but if you mess with my girl or my family, I will hear you out on that.
Okay, one more time.
I love guys who are like, I'm peaceful, but don't mess with my girl or my family. Because there's no other kind of guy. No guy out there is going, listen, I'm an extremely violent dude, but if you mess with my girl or my family, I will hear you out on that.
Nobody's like that. That's my
but the
point.
opposite guy too. I think how they react is different.
Yeah,
one will be more hurt when you talk about his mama, and one is going to punch you out when you talk about his mama.
Yeah, this is a not bad Dan on Instagram. Daniel Donahoe, he's a comedian in Southern California. That just cracked me up. That it's like, because like,
of course,
everyone's because everyone's so reasonable when they're not.
Of course,
Yeah, that's point one, I guess. I think you have. I don't know what motivated it, other than I think that Will Smith is not entirely mentally healthy.
Yeah, I don't know if any celebrity's fully there, and you and I talked about it a little bit off.
Yeah,
podcast.
I mean, the way he acted then. That fucking speech, which some people are like, oh, it's the best thing I've ever heard. It's like, no, you didn't actually listen to what he said.
Yeah.
He I'm called, and anytime somebody tells me they're called to do something, I'm immediately skeeved out.
Do you just think the mental clarity is not there?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Exactly it. I think that, that equates to me to hearing voices.
I do think I don't think this is controversial. I love Will Smith as an artist. I grew up on Fresh Prince, love all that shit. As a human, don't fucking know him, right? I can't ever make a judgment, and I do to a certain extent. There's morals to all this. I'm not going to stop watching Fresh Prince because of this, but I stopped watching or listening to R. Kelly because of that. Right. I do think we can say both are bad, and one is different.
Yeah.
So. That being said, I do think his speech was very this apology. Sorry, you felt that way, Jim.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Like he didn't apologize in the speech at all. And to that regard, I don't fully disagree with what he said.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and that goes, I think, back to what I'm talking about, almost in a sense. Like, just because he's a celebrity, is that built into your contract with the devil, selling your soul, that now you just have to be disrespected left and right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it sucks, and I've always come from, obviously the scale is Will's on 1 million, and I'm 0.0001 down here with a couple Instagram followers, but I'm trying to relate the best I can.
Right.
We have very different lives, very different situations, but having some audience on my half, I've always said that the good comes with the bad. I got to take the hate. And I gotta either choose this life. I chose to have an Instagram public and grow it. Will chose to audition for these things. These are all chosen paths. So in that instance, I think I do have to take people making fun of my nose. Potentially, I've had death threats. I've had these things.
Yeah.
And many of my other friends that do YouTube, etc., have stalkers, etc.
In for a penny, in for a pound, as they say.
Yeah, I don't think it's right. I don't think we should have to deal with this, especially some of my lady friends that stream or Instagram or whatever that have the rude comment. I don't think that is correct. But our world isn't a paradise. When you and then you reap the benefits of it, the money, the lavish lifestyle, the sponsorships. No job is perfect, and you're choosing this job.
Right. And furthermore, I mean, much has been made already about the fact that she's got this podcast where she talks about everything, all the sort of intimate, dirty details of their lives.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's thrilled about it, but it happens.
What's fucking weird is a week ago, one of them tweeted, or there's an article saying there was never any infidelity in our marriage.
Yeah, well,
is that a semantics because they were like split for a second, or is because I only read the headline, obviously, or the tweet.
I don't know. I heard the excerpt from their podcast.
No, I watched the whole podcast. Because I like Will Smith, and so I remember.
Well, did you think he sounded like he was in pain during that episode?
But she did never say like on that podcast. I don't think she ever said like, "Yo, I fucked him." Well, they were very blunt, but you know what I mean.
But it's like he can't give her orgasms.
Yeah,
it's like that sounds like a thing that could be fixed.
I remember even being a teenager in like high school, and there was always like weird,
especially if somebody else can do it. Go on.
Yeah, true. There's always been like weird conversations about the Smith family.
Yeah.
Even since I was in like high school, which is like, early 2000s, they talked about them being swingers or, there's always rumors of these things.
And or Scientologists, which those things don't go all that well together.
Maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
Because
I love Scientology for some reason. I've watched all the documentaries. It interests me so much. Kind of like the diet show we covered. Little cults just kind of interest me, I think.
Yeah.
It's just so weird.
The things that people will buy.
So in. They're so in, and how creepy it is that seemingly intelligent people get fucking boofed.
Yeah, well, that's, I mean, we've both been there in a way, not with a cult, but sort of, yeah.
I just feel like I never lost myself. I definitely followed bad advice.
Yeah, and you were talking about the non-apology apology. Boy, if I'd had my antennas up in about 2006 on the no apology, the whole course of everything would have been different. Because I got it. I knew at the time that the apology that I was getting was bullshit, but I didn't really extrapolate to, this is a bullshit person who gives bullshit apologies because they can't face that they've made a mistake.
Sometimes that bullshit apology is, I take it like you probably did, where you're like, this person doesn't have the courage right now to do something, rather than it's malicious or just blind.
But that in and of itself should be a red flag.
Maybe.
You should be throwing flags over that.
Yeah. It's just common, I think.
Yeah.
Because it is hard to like really apologize.
Yeah.
And it's hard to really apologize, and it's hard to really feel an apology sometimes, because we're all stuck in our own perception of what happened regardless of what's going on. Scientology, where was I?
Mental health.
Mental health. The Will Smith swinger thing.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
A friend of mine who's a stand-up and does improv put on his Facebook day before yesterday, whatever. He's a man of color, so whatever. But sometimes his stuff kind of has a different angle than you would necessarily expect the whole world to talk about. Anyway, aside from that entirely, he said something that made it sound as though he was criticizing people who are poly. I don't think that's the situation that's going on.
That there. Chris Rock was?
No, that my friend was.
Oh,
he made a joke that people assumed was and. Like,
so all that, yeah.
But that's a choice to share publicly that I mean, people can do whatever they want to, and then it goes back to like when you share things about yourself,
You're gonna get feedback.
there's going to get feedback,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
going to be on a spectrum. And some people are going to be very much with you, and other people are going to be very much against you. That's just like
Another conversation I think that pops up, and we talked about Lisa Lampanelli about it, is like the is this comedy, and like where's that boundary?
yeah,
You know, to I guess in a way defend Chris Rock in this. I think there's lines. I think making fun of someone's disease to their face is probably the line for me as a entertainer, right? Like that starts to get like that's pretty ballsy, big boy.
but
like she's front row,
Yeah.
and you're making fun of something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So my understanding was that Chris Rock talked to the producer of this show about being edgier, and some of the jokes were edgy and they're
Yeah,
were
see, I
just
didn't-
fucking awful.
I haven't seen any of the Oscars.
and the show itself was awful. It was probably the worst Oscars that I've ever seen, which sucks because it also had the best representation ever.
Yeah.
I think, and like a movie about deaf people and their hearing child won Best Picture.
Was Chris Rock a host, or was he just
He was
throwing down?
He was a presenter.
Yeah.
They did just all the skits were stupid. I understand that I didn't see the opening monologue, and I suppose that was pretty good. I hear it was pretty good.
But all
the
these
rest
shows
of it
are
was but
they're all heading downhill, eh?
yeah, and it had a roasty quality to it, which is what he was doing.
Sure.
And maybe he knows that she has alopecia, but I would like to point out the fact, she lost her hair, and that's sad.
Yeah.
For sure. But she's not dying of alopecia.
For sure.
This is not like hair cancer.
For
you know what I'm
sure.
saying? It's
I don't know, right? Because I'm not a fucking celebrity, but I would imagine if I'm in Chris Rock's shoes also, is I'm going to make fun of the homies,
yeah.
right? That's like what makes those roast shows like funny is they're
Right.
homies,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So you can go, if I'm roasting you, I go
Yeah.
all in because you know at my heart what I mean.
Right.
If we're kind of acquaintances or we have a rough past, and then I go all in,
Yeah.
it does come off different, even if comedy and entertainment's the gig.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I get being edgy. I don't know, man. I don't know the answer there. But that's obviously a big topic in general.
Yeah.
Comedians getting canceled. Can you make racial jokes? Can you make disability jokes? Can you make, if you're a comedian, and from our highest profile comedian friend, Lampanelli seems to say like, yeah, like it is. And I tend to lean that way when it comes to this cancel culture of comedians.
Yeah. No, I tend to agree with you on that point. And the other thing that came to light yesterday for me that I didn't know before is that Chris Rock has nonverbal learning disorder. So meaning that he is not good at picking up on the social cues of other people and modulating his behavior to that. So
I don't know.
comes off as being very unfiltered, which can be great for being a comedian, especially if you're a little on the insulty side.
Yeah.
But for a situation like this,
I don't know enough about that diagnosis because obviously this stuff's scripted and preemptive. It's not like he's just on the alley whipping it out.
what I don't know is whether or not that line was.
I'm almost sure.
Well, it was. I mean, it was not a good. It wasn't a good joke.
No, it was fine. Yeah, it's not that funny.
It was. G.I. Jane was too much of a throwback. And you, my maybe favorite comment on social media about the whole thing is like, that there are conversations going on right now about G.I. Jane.
Yeah,
too.
everyone. Yeah, for sure.
'Cause who owns that IP? Probably Paramount or somebody. and
Yeah,
it'll be
who's it?
on-
Demi Moore?
Yeah, it's Demi Moore.
Because
She was jacked.
I saw tweets on that too. Like, where's Demi Moore? That's
Has
funny
anybody
tweets.
checked on
Yeah,
Demi Moore?
Yeah, those tweets are funny.
Yeah.
I think that's the end of all I have there.
Yeah,
I think
the
because I don't have answers. I just have questions.
I don't think that there are answers. Everybody is free to judge the moral situation. What I don't like, honestly, is people so pearl clutching about it. It's like, yeah, it was a bad scene.
Yeah, no, it's not that bad.
And it's not that bad. There are worse things going on in the world.
That's why I like to talk about the moral, social, comedian cancel culture with something that's not that serious. Because the question can be scaled either way,
Yeah.
right? It's all the way up to when people are making racial jokes
Yeah.
or disability jokes, which are much more serious. Like you said, like I feel for Jada and I feel for anyone that has alopecia. That probably sucks.
Yeah.
But You're losing your hair. You're not losing a limb. You're not losing your life.
Yeah,
you're not losing your kid.
Let's look in proportion to
Compared to like a race thing,
Yeah.
compared to like a full disability thing, whatever.
Yeah, and some people are talking about it as a race thing because it's maybe a little more common.
Oh, is it? Someone thought I had it. One of my barbers thought it. Because can't you get it? You start to get it from stress, I think.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Versus like male pattern baldness is
Sure.
is an alopecia as well.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's
Just not as
what
categorized.
what she's got is kind of a supposedly an autoimmune kind of.
Yeah, I don't know.
thing.
Either way, I like to talk about it now because the repercussions are Chris Rock and Will Smith both went to their $10 million houses after this.
Right.
And
Exactly.
and
These are people who are not hurt by this.
They both
scenario.
grabbed some Dom Perignon and they were probably okay.
Yeah, and I feel like Will Smith's apology was a little bit of, oh shit, am I going to like lose every opportunity from this point forward? And like he pretty much controls his own destiny. He has enough money to make whatever he wants to make.
He could disappear. He
Yeah.
could make whatever movie he wanted. He
Yeah.
could flip it. He could do a movie about the Oscars. He can he can do whatever he wants.
And he's been chasing an Oscar for decades.
Right.
And the issue is like kind of why, because of the way the whole thing is kind of rigged.
yeah.
It was rigged.
Yeah, it's all buddy-buddy game.
It felt like it was rigged for him this year. It was a makeup. He won a makeup Oscar. He should have won for Ali, or
I thought people hated Ali.
people kind of did, but
He
like he was
killed it.
But he was really, really good.
No, he killed it.
I mean,
He, you can say whatever you want about his acting. I don't necessarily think he's the greatest actor of all time, but I do like him. But he did kill Ali. And he was
Yeah.
pretty good in Pursuit of Happiness,
yeah.
I think.
He's
And there's
been-
plenty of movies he was not good in.
Yeah. I think he was basically just playing himself in the Men in Black movies, but it
Right.
was cool.
No, Men in Black's one of my favorite movies of all time. But
Yeah.
yeah, is he acting his tits off? Probably not. Same with like I Am Legend or I, Robot. I really like those movies. Is he
Yeah.
acting his tits off? Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
We talked about this. In
I Am
Making
Legend
It.
2.
You think
Stoked on it.
I didn't even know what that's about.
I'm stoked on
I don't
it.
know why.
As long as the
the
German Shepherd comes back.
I thought the German Shepherd was for sure dead.
Well, so we thought Will Smith was for sure dead. Maybe they both. Who knows what happens? They could both
Yeah,
come back
it's a-
happily.
It's an in-betweenquel or a prequel or I don't know.
alternate ending.
Alternate ending.
That's 2 hours long.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Jeez.
Sign me
I don't
up.
know. I don't know.
What you got on the list? I know we got 2 more.
I got 2 more things. Yeah, I got
Let's do a quick announcement.
Oh, yeah, go.
Thanks for listening, ladies and gentlemen. Brand new drop, Americana Traditional drop by Good Company. 3rd Street Barbell, 3sb.co. We got a decent amount of hoodies. Sizes are running low-ish, but check it out, 3sb.co. Join our Discord, 50percentfacts.com. We're going to start to update the blog and things. We're going to get some content rolling. They explained it well. I've done some collaborations recently with Barber Brigade, and we're getting the content going there, getting the content going here. My YouTube channel is back. This podcast is going twice a week now. Everything's ramping up, and there was like a weird lull. Obviously, COVID played a role in travel and collaborations,
Right.
but the world's picking up, so content is also picking up. We're excited about that here. 50percentfacts.com. Join the Discord, exclusive giveaways, exclusive merch, bunch of community, like-minded lifters and fashionistas. Hopefully, we'll teach you guys the thing. We made a drip, like an outfit area in there, and a lot of guys are confused. I'm going to teach you guys. I'm not Queer Eye for the Straight guy, but we'll get you guys some clothes in there. So join it, Discord. And then I think the next announcement is kind of tied into this. World's Strongest Man is back.
Our World's Strongest Man is back in Sacramento.
Yeah.
It is May 24th through 26th.
Is that just the finals? That's the whole thing again?
That's the whole thing, yeah.
So
I
I
did
don't-
the prelims and the finals.
I should hit
together.
somebody up that knows more, but what I've read so far, it seems like they're going to have an expo of nature or a, what do they call it, an audience experience maybe, or a fan experience?
Yeah, and then know that the tickets for the VIP stuff are very expensive, but there is a general admission,
And that's
I think
cost,
it's
though.
supposed to, no, general admission is supposed to be free.
Oh, okay.
According
So
to Kale, I'm talking to I'm looking
I
at
thought
Kale
I-
Beck for answers.
I
here.
thought I read that maybe general is going to cost because they didn't say that particularly, but the comment I saw from World's Strongest Man org was that last year it was free per event and sold out quickly. Now we're going to have a fan experience, which sounds like that will be free, but tickets to events may cost. They didn't say that, but that's the vibe I got. Either way,
they're really running out the clock on this to make these kind of decisions.
yeah, we're
though.
4 weeks out. They probably have the decisions, but haven't leaked it,
I don't understand that. I don't. In the same way that I go into some place and that's trying to sell me something and doesn't have a price posted. I'm irritated by that.
The only excuse I give for them is that they are dealing with like TV. Like there's World's Strongest Man organization, right? Then you have all the athletes, and then they have the TV. They got to run the shit through, right? So they're dealing with big dogs. But either way, it's literally, I think, 0.4 miles from 3rd Street Barbell. So if you guys plan on watching some of the events, I know some of the big hitters are back. I think Martin Lises is back in town, and so a bunch of fun events. And 3rd Street's right down the street. So if you grab a hotel, grab an Airbnb. We are open for day passes. If you want to grab a single day, a 5-day, come grab your deadlifts, grab a shower. Because strongmen typically smell bad. And then we will see you at the events, hopefully at the fan experience. Powerlifters too, okay? I'm not just throwing shots. Weightlifters, bodybuilders, you all smell bad. We're not small people, and it'll be a nice toasty May.
Okay, 54 days, 17 hours, 12 minutes as of this recording. What does it say about tickets? I'm going to look at the ticket thing here. Register, okay? 60 days left to register, 55 days until the event. Full ticket sales, including qualifiers. They're I don't know. So check it out, worldstrongestman.com.
Yeah, we're not affiliated. We don't have the goddamn news.
We don't know. We're not getting any money off of this.
No, we're just here to party.
Yeah, but I will say that when I search World's Strongest Man, what comes up first for me is actually Barben's story on it. Yes, SEO
bastards.
is, yeah. I apparently I need some consultation in that regard. Louie Simmons. Louie Smith. Who is Louie Smith?
No clue.
Louie Simmons passed away last week. I don't want to add any levity to that. I know that his health had been declining over the last year or so, and I thought it would be helpful, just in terms of context, to talk about like what we think his legacy is going to be. Yeah, going forward now.
It was cool to see the community kind of come together on that, because over time, not only because of his personality, but because of his methodologies, he was controversial. Obviously, as a personality, if you guys have ever seen any Louie Simmons,
or if you ever met him,
I was unfortunately, because of past mentors, relationships, I never met Louie. He's one of the few in the game that I would have loved to get to know, and I never met him. But I before joining Super Training, I don't think I've told the story. Maybe I don't know if I don't think I'm an overachiever, but I don't like to come in not ready. Kind of. I like to be prepared, and so when I joined Super Training in 2011, or I even visited in 2010, I think once for a deadlift session. I knew they trained conjugate. I was currently running a Shaco by myself in a commercial gym. I had already read some and watched some interviews, but I bought like 3 of his books and read them front to back like 8 times. I was like, I'm not going to come to Super Training and look stupid, you know, like I'm not going to be dumb. And so, and I did. I trained under, a conjugate Westside methodology for 3-ish years, with using and utilizing his tools as a coach for a very long time. But as a powerlifter myself, I only used them about 3 years. But obviously that's kind of where both of our lineage in lifting kind of comes from. And if you had ever met him, interview, videos, you know that he spoke intelligently, spoke very sciencey. He was, I think, one of probably the first few to really dig into science and at least try to put it into an applicable form for lifters. Before that, it was lift heavy, lift more, lift every day, all these different things. And in the strength and conditioning world, my personal opinion, and I think the industry opinion, is that his mark and his legacy will last forever. I think strength and conditioning wise, because one of the biggest things he does preach is GPP, general physical preparedness. That's one of his biggest markers that he's always coaching. And what do you need as a basketball player, a football player, a soccer player? You need general physical preparedness. Your skill comes from shooting a basketball, kicking a soccer ball, but generally you need to be as prepared as possible for cutting, turning, sprints, et cetera, et cetera. And as a coach myself, and many of our other coaches, friends, Jacob Ross, and a lot of guys that deal with very high-level athletes, use a lot of his methodologies. So I think that mark will be forever, 100%.
Yeah, for me, like coming from a background of splits that you get out of magazines,
Arm Day.
back in the day. But yeah, things were body parts split up in a particular way, and then coming into Conjugate, there were things about that made sense to me.
Yeah,
and kind of fit with it. And one of the legacies for me is I'm never going to understand why anyone would ever want to squat, bench, and deadlift all in one day unless they were doing a meet. It doesn't make any sense to me at all, because you can't, in my mind, there's no way you can maximize all those things at one time. I don't even mean like a max weight. It could be reps. It could be whatever. I just don't see how that works. I mean, Conjugate makes sense to me. It more than any other thing. I don't know why exactly, but
yeah.
I think that the segment of Michael Fahey's West Side versus the World, where it explains the difference between progressive overload and Conjugate, it makes so much sense to me, to the point where you go, why would somebody do progressive overload? Because
I don't want to dig into programming
the,
talk when we're talking Louie, but
the burnout factor is so high. So no, I mean, to me that's part of it.
But progressive overload isn't just add 5 pounds every week.
Yeah, I
know.
That's
linear progression.
Yeah,
which is much different and impossible.
But still, the idea that you're playing around the edges of things more often, you're using variations to try to build up your main lift. All those things make sense to me, especially in terms of like alleviating boredom.
Yeah, it's definitely West Side fits an ADHD model well.
Yeah, it does. So those are the things that I think are going to linger. I think that I don't know who else is ever going to have the, fuck you, this is what we're doing attitude and carry it off the same way that Louie did.
Yeah, there might be a fuck you guy that shows up, but I definitely don't think one single person and one methodology will ever hit powerlifting the same. Mike Teixeira has added great things to powerlifting. Bryce Lewis is insanely analytical and adds great things to the sport. There's a lot of really good minds running around. Yeah. Joey Flex has a squad of Avengers under him that he's coached to top level. There's a lot of guys that add a lot of pieces to it, and none of them have even touched Louie coming up with most diets we've talked about, and most training programs, if they have a name, they're trash.
Typically, yeah.
Right? So if you're going carnivore, if you're going keto, if your thing has a label, it's trash. And that's why I don't label how I coach. I use a lot of programming tools and concepts, and I use them when appropriate. But West Side Conjugate method is probably the only one I can think of that has tons of applications and is labeled as such. There's nothing else out there. P90X, I don't give a fuck. CrossFit's not a thing. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's probably the only one that is valid. Based, I think the kids say. Based.
Well, a thing that became pretty clear to me early was that, I mean, it's really a template that you can apply.
Yeah.
And no two gyms that train Conjugate, or say they train West Side or whatever, do it the same way.
I think even Louie said that. That no one trains West Side unless you're at West Side.
Unless you're at West Side. And even then, the stuff that he was having people do was, laboratory stuff.
Sure.
Basically, he was like, oh, let's try this thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he was doing it with his top level people, but he may have been. I don't know. Michael can answer that question for us. I added a little bit of an urge to get Michael on this week, but I think he probably needs a little bit of space.
Yeah, breathe a little bit.
Yeah, because I think he was getting hit with everybody right away. As soon as the news came out, I touched base with him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm getting tagged all over the place."
Yeah, I'm sure.
If necessary, I'll just turn off the West Side versus the World accounts for a couple days and give myself a little bit of a break. But I don't know anybody that's gone deeper with it than him.
Yeah.
And so he knows some of those stories about what was actually going on at the peak of West Side's influence. I think that a thing that is true about anything is that it'll go through a life cycle, and you'll reach a peak, and then there'll be a waning influence, but it's also a dilution of those styles, dilution of of that, and it's kind of everywhere in little pieces,
Right.
and nobody acknowledges it anymore because it's just become mainstream.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the first guy to throw a band on a barbell, but he's definitely the first guy to like educate you on why, how, when.
Right.
And those things are used in more typical raw powerlifting now. A daily undulating or whatever style you're kind of training in. Variations of a band or chain are much more utilized.
Yeah, some of the things have never made. We were talking the other day because somebody asked me about floor press with chains. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. If you're in a shirt, sure, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because the strength curve, I mean, that's the big thing about accommodating resistance. If we do, I mean, our next episode, Tune In Friday, is going to be mostly on training and very more applicable shit. But the strength curve is what we're really trying to get into when we're talking about athletics or even powerlifting. And weak point training is what we're tackling in the next conversation. Yeah. And the strength curve changes when you wear a t-shirt. When you're wearing a bench shirt, not a t-shirt. When you're using a bench shirt, it's taken away like the natural strength curve of a raw bench.
Yeah.
So obviously the weight's insanely heavy at the top. And so I guess a floor press with accommodating resistance may be something you throw in the mix.
And you were talking about the strength and conditioning world, particularly with higher level athletes. Like the whole thing is that you need to prepare them without burning them out, and that's a thing you can do with a conjugate plan. Because of the variations.
Not only you can choose variations based on their build, based on their sport, slightly based on on-season, off-season. And another thing, even though Louie doesn't really use the term, Mike Teixeira more populated, is it is all kind of auto-regulated. You kind of throw some percents in when you're talking bands and chains, but like the science or like the math gets weird because like what band are you using, then what percent, right? And he says like about 50% and some bands and chains. Well, like, what does that mean if you're a 900-pound puller versus a 400-pound puller? And I think Louie tries to explain some of that stuff, but it is kind of gray area. And on Max Effort Day, he just says go as heavy as you can, which you can easily translate to an RPE 9 or a 10. And when you're training an athlete, you tell them the same. Hey, we're going to, kind of save a little gas in the tank. And because they have a game Sunday, so we're doing heavy lower body Tuesday or whatever it might be. And so they can squat something heavy rather than an exact percent, because who's ever going to test the 1 rep max of a 7-foot basketball player? Right. Or why would you ever need to? Yeah. You don't need those analytics. So there is a ton of stuff that's highly applicable.
Yeah, I feel like we could go on and on, but the basics of a conjugate plan have worked for a lot of people, and I think when you go back to people just getting into a sport or whatever, almost everything works. So there's not really a downside to any particular strength building plan for the first year or two or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I suggest West Side for a first year of training. But
but as somebody's training age increases, a way to manage load does become more important. And I think that's something that, as we were saying, West Side lends itself to. To wrap up, I did a...
I feel like we're the Powerlifting TMZ. I think that was one of our podcast names, too.
It was, yeah. Powerlifting TMZ. That was
fucking
actually
do it. Go to the Discord and hit us with, like, trending shit. I don't mind talking about trending shit as long as it's not corny. Oh, you want to know another huge trending one?
What?
Maybe we should have an expert on. Girls peeing is still, like, a huge fucking thing. Girls pee.
When they lift or just like period?
I hope they pee period, because that means you're hydrated, but when they lift.
Okay.
Shout out to the home girl, Hunter Henderson, strongest, baddest woman on the planet, IFBB pro. Plus, I think she's #1 powerlifter of all time. I might be incorrect, but definitely top 3. There was a bunch of controversy going on anyways, like I think troll accounts and people reposting. But then last night I'm scrolling around, it's probably 9 o'clock at night. I'm slowly going off to Sleepland, and one of my favorite Instagram accounts, 50 Cent, who is probably the most famous troll on the planet. All he does is post, internet shit.
Yeah.
E-bombs. He's the E-bombs of fucking Instagram. He posts Hunter, and he says something stupid, like, what he posts is trying to be funny, and that's like fine because he doesn't understand what's going on. He said something like, "I never worked out this hard, go hard, miss pissy," or something. I don't know. But what's is kind of embarrassing is how stupid the fucking comments are. Like how absolutely idiotic our world is.
Yeah.
Like, and they're adults. You know, like you don't think women pee, bro. And then like second thing, like she's like just the stupidity, has layers. Some are just like, oh, she's lifting 25 pounds. I see it right there, 25 plus 20. She's lifting like 250 pounds. I deadlift 400 and I didn't pee. I'm like, they're kilos.
Yeah.
She's fucking probably pulling 500 plus for reps.
Yeah.
And yes, you're a dude. I hope your penis didn't explode.
Yeah.
Like our stuff is set differently. I'm
Yeah.
not a doctor, but I know it's different.
we have a prostate in the way. And
There's things.
the sphincters are different, and it's all different.
All different, and you can't out deadlift Hunter. That's another. I
Yeah.
should have just thrown my hat in the ring. I didn't. But all that, and so I don't know why it's resurfacing on a public. Maybe that means powerlifting strongman's getting popular or something. But it had resurfaced, and then 50 went way in.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he or his people found it to cause some controversy, but just wanted to be the TMZ and report that.
I remember back in the day when Meg Squats was on. She had felt strongly about pelvic floor training, and now that she's had a baby, I wonder.
She still talks about it, and that's like the thing. And even Hunter's talking about it. Like, but like I think at some point it is a muscle. Again, I'm not a doctor or an expert in this category, but at some point it's a muscle. And like against Friday's episode, we're talking weak point training. If your pull or your abdominal is stronger than that, your pelvic, you know what I mean? Like it's a balance of muscles, and so like. Even if you work on it, I don't think you can always fix it. I literally think Hunter deadlifts over 600 pounds. She squats over 600. Like, that's a lot of fucking pressure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then it's just the dumb comments like, you're doing that in public? I'm like, dude. And Hunter's shout out to Hunter, dude. One, you're an amazing athlete. But two, like she's made a joke of it in the past within the niche. Like she posts memes of her mopping, and she trains our boy JP's gym a lot, and she's cleaning it and laughing, and you know what I mean. Like it's just one, it's pee. It's not that serious again.
Yeah.
So like, why are all these random ass skinny dudes on the internet making a joke about something they have no clue about?
That's a fair point.
Yeah, you're fat, 50, dumb bitch. Maybe you need to deadlift more. Hang it upside down like that.
At the Super Bowl, nonetheless. I think I wanted to close with just real quick. I put up a Ask Me Stuff on Instagram. It's the first time I've ever done that. And there are like two things I don't really want people to ask me about.
Yeah.
And one of them is like what my training is like right now, because honestly it's pretty non-existent. Like,
well, there's an answer.
Yeah,
that's easy.
I know, but I feel badly about that. I own a gym. This is whatever. I
own a podcast. Don't listen to podcasts. Is that the same?
That's a fair point. Yeah. But I actually started back a little while ago, and then immediately had so much hand pain, which is something I've never had before, that I just had to stop. Like, if it's keeping me awake at night, if whatever I'm doing in the gym is keeping me awake at night in pain, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, it's
until I get it sorted.
A net negative.
Yeah, it's a net negative, and that became a problem a few years ago. My shoulder, it's still not fixed. My shoulder, my neck. I did kind of everything I could think to do in that regard, and it was still a problem. My knee, my right knee, is not happy with me. I know what this imaging of my left knee looks like, and it looks like it should be causing me the kind of pain I have in my right knee.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's the same deal.
I don't even know. I'm sure it's probably the same thing. I just don't. I have not had any imaging there, so I haven't really had to try to have that fixed. I kind of, for the first time ever, started to think that knee is not going to make the long haul for whatever reason. I'm sure that I jacked it up along the way. My knees and my ankles are all hypermobile. You can do damage there because things move around more than they should. But the one thing I am trying to do to get my hands back happy again, I've been using this Hand X band. I got this from Rogue. No, I'm not making any money off this, but it's certainly worth trying in terms of like reworking your grip or
the extensors in your forearms.
Yeah,
can get weak and unused.
Yeah, and I don't know if that because we took some break in terms of building this gym and just did not have the motivation to train the way we have in the past. And like I could lift with you guys if I was feeling like it, but it's not the same thing as having a training partner. I had a training partner for a while. I don't have a training partner anymore. My wife is here, 2 days a week doing yoga, and before she hurt her shoulder. Before she hurt her shoulder, she was lifting at the same time. Like having somebody to come with makes a difference. I'm not there right now. I don't have the physical capability or the motivation right now. I don't know.
Sometimes the motivation, you can't really force it.
No.
Yeah, I think it'll naturally come back or not, or you'll find a new activity.
Yeah.
And I think that's good advice for everybody. Like when you force it, you're just going to burn out harder, mentally or physically.
Yeah.
But on that note, we are trying to start a little mini crew, unofficial, but noon, Monday, Tuesdays, Thursday, Fridays, whether you're local or visiting. If you want to train with the boys, the girls, we got more strong girls than we do boys in this silly gym. The chicks are beasts and all us dudes are barely lifting, barely holding it together. But noon, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is kind of when we jam out. We'll get Jim's extensors right, and he's going to hop into.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I think that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, 3sb.co, 3rd Street Barbell, Sacramento, California. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Stop by any time. I'm Silent Mike. Everywhere you want to find me. Brand new episode every Wednesday and Friday. If you could, share this out on socials. It means the world to us. Rating and review. Thank you so much.
I am at the Jimmy D on all the social media. This show, 50% facts. I can't even talk today. I felt terrible all day. Here's a thing everybody needs to know. 50% facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. We will talk to you on Friday with a weak point training topic.